Welcome back to No Direction Detail. I'm Brian.
I'm Aaron.
We have a special show for you today. We're going to talk about, protectants. We have three we would like to cover, and we're going to take a close look at all three, and we're going to center in or zone in or whatever you want to call it, zero in on one of those today, and that is
the Glossome Wax.
Glossome Wax. What is Glossome Wax? It's a thick, viscous formula, and it has more than just T1 carnauba. We're going to talk about that in video, what's in the formula, what it can do for you, how to apply it, different ways to use it, results, yada, yada, yada.
I got to be honest with you. When it comes to, the toppers and the coatings and the waxes and stuff, for me, there's nothing better than a wax. I like it.
Waxes, I like my carnauba waxes and Montana waxes, and also polymer sealants. They are part of my arsenal and part of the protectant and overall look of some of my personal vehicles. So yeah, it's not always ceramics.
It might be nostalgia. Is that right? Nostalgia?
Nostalgic?
Nostalgic.
Yeah.
But like, using the wax brings me back to washing the car with my dad. You remember Turtle Wax used to have this can, and it had this flimsy plastic lid that had this sponge inside it.
Yep.
And I remember doing the whole Mr. Miyagi wax on, wax off with my dad on his station wagon. So
waxes and sealants to me are satisfying, and when you're talking about the look of protectants on some of the vehicles, it's tough to describe it, but there's a wet dripping look that a wax gives you. There's a sharp depth that
it's like
ceramics,
almost like a warm glow.
Yeah.
That I just really enjoy when it comes to a wax. And again, yes, it doesn't have that longevity that you would get out of a ceramic coating. That's, everybody loves ceramic coatings these days. But for me, my go-to is a wax. And sure, I'm going to have to reapply it more than once a year, but I enjoy it. Isn't that what we're detailing cars for? I mean, unless you're running the business, but even if you are running a business, you would think that detailing needs to be a joy. And for me, a wax.
A lot of my customers will veer away from long-term protectants because they actually like to put something on their car, work on their car. So that's perfect for them. So today we're going to take a deep dive into Glossome Wax.
Might consider this to be the first of a series of three, because we are going to talk about Glossome Wax in this show, and then the next show we'll probably do Titan, and then what we got going on over here is
and right here.
Oh, this one's coming. Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves. This is a sealant. And eventually we will talk about the differences between a topper, a sealant, a wax, and then this guy should be coming out here within the next, I would say by mid-May. We've already started on the, I've got the formula made, obviously. Got the illustration. I should show you on my phone. It's Helios. Helios glass cleaner is what it is. Segue, the Pay It Forward campaign, right?
Yes.
We had the Pay It Forward campaign. The finale was down at the warehouse last month, March 26th and 27th, and a bunch of people came out. DIY represented, BioBombs represented, and a bunch of guys from the community came out. Rick Smith is a fan favorite. He was there, and the second day of the Shipping Hope, I had all the guys make this in the warehouse together. So the whole community made this glass cleaner. And
can't wait.
Yeah, and it's Helios. So I just wanted to give you a tease. You heard it here first on the show. Helios glass cleaner.
Well, before we take a deep dive, we better pay the bills.
Speaking of the House of Rags, click on the link below. Use promo code NODIRECTION10 to save yourself some cheddar. This episode is brought to you by the House of Rags. The House of Rags, everything that you need for detailing.
Hey, as always, I'm always anxious to get out into the shop and get some hands-on.
Let's do it.
Let's get to it. All right, on this Honda, we have a gorgeous pearl paint job. Snow white with metallic flake. And depending on the light you're looking at, it really pops. So something like like Glossome Wax on this would really give it a unique look. Now there is preparation for before putting that on. What you put into your preparation is what you're going to get out of it, and I wouldn't recommend just slopping this on paint without washing it. Decon and proper preparation. As you can see here, not just a standard white. This has some really neat metallic flake, silvers, light pastel colors, gives it that pearl look. You don't have to do paint correction, but you do need to, at the very least, clean it properly and decon it. So first, before we get into preparation, let's talk about Glossome Wax on its own. And as you can see here, it's a nice, thick, viscous formula. It is capped, so it stays nice and fresh on its journey to your location, but it is a thick, viscous, liquid wax type substance. But it's not only a wax. It's go ahead and
Well, we like to call it the kitchen sink because I mean we threw all kinds of stuff at it. So you have the natural carnubas, and then you have the synthetic polymers, and then we threw in a little Teflon just to give it that extra.
So, you're going to have really nice dripping wet gloss. You're going to have some minor filling capabilities as well. So minor imperfections, very minor, from etching or improper wash technique, which will occur no matter how careful you are on the surface, and that helps kind of fill in and mask it a little bit for those that have the eye.
I will say, a side note, if you'll indulge me, this is number 4 of the 4 horsemen. Brian was number 1 of the horsemen. He helped me develop the Apex Auto Wash. And then Phil Miranda from Miranda Detailing. He was notorious for saying, that's totally Glossom. And so when he was helping me with the wax, I said to him, he said, I want it to smell like a pina colada, look like a pina colada. When I open up this bottle, I want to be on the beach having a pina colada. So we named it Glossome Wax after Phil, and we tried to get it as close to pina colada as we possibly could. Side note.
So when you were developing, that's what you had in mind. Glossy, wet look, nice and slick, and pina colada.
And pina colada, yeah. Because, it's amazed how it was funny. Rick Smith just brought a bunch of product down to one of the detail shops down there. And he goes, the very first thing that every detailer did was they opened up every bottle and smelled it.
Yeah, everybody except for me, because I can't smell shit.
Right, but it's pleasant to work with is what I'm trying to say.
It is pleasant to work with, and you'll see as we demonstrate it. When you're working with waxes, especially your boutique waxes, you want a satisfying experience when you're using it, user-friendly experience, and that it is. So, without further ado, let's get into proper preparation, because again, the time and effort you put into preparation is what you're going to get out of the product. Preparation. Obviously, you do not want to just slop the wax down on top of a dirty vehicle. It's not going to bond properly. It's not going to look good.
Yeah, I was going to say that it just won't look
and
good.
And sure
either.
as hell won't last. Yeah. So obviously, a fresh wash with your favorite shampoo. You can do a rinseless, which is what I'm going to do here. We're going to go through the whole process. So rinseless wash first.
Hydra, the best one out there.
Exactly.
Who knew it was really that simple?
You knew.
Oh.
Okay, so now clean. We're gonna put that on there again because I also use it as a clay lube.
Oh, all right.
Hydra.
As seen in one of our other videos, the mini heads of the Hydra.
Absolutely. All right, so not only is this plucking off the bonded contaminants and making it feel silky smooth, clay has an abrasive in it that also can help remove and break down traffic films.
Okay.
So it's part of the decon process.
Now, are all clays made the same? Are all clays the same?
No, not at all. And the material to make up clay is everywhere. So you can buy a plumber's putty, which doesn't have any abrasive in it whatsoever, but is the exact same material if you break it down.
Huh.
And you can see, let me show this through the camera.
Wow.
That's what the clay here,
And that was on a clean surface, the washed
Well,
surface.
what you would think would
That's
be clean.
wild.
So you can go a step further, and that's why I always clay beforehand. And then I grab my towels. By the way, these get washed immediately afterwards because they will pick up a lot of crud, contaminants, and traffic film. So these need to be cleaned often. By the way, for those that ask, I use Towel Clean, a special formulated for towels, and I'm waiting for you to come out with yours.
All right,
So
all right, all
maybe
right.
one day, guys, we have a Phoenix EOD version.
Give the people what they want. It took me, 5 years to put out a dedicated glass cleaner because I was just like, we have Hydra, we have Peleus. Like, that is.
Silky smooth. So that's what you want. Clean, now deconned, and silky smooth. But wait, there's more.
Brian, we got a terrific email this past month based on the last video that we did. And people are saying that they enjoy us because we're just two casual friends hanging out.
Aww. All right, so you can go further with your preparation process. You can end it right there, and you can, spread out your Glossome Wax. And by the way, we'll get to how long you let it sit on there before you wipe it off. We'll give you all the details when it comes to application. We're still in the prep process. Again, I put a lot of time and effort into prep because I want to get the most out of this product. So we have a little bit of bug guts, we have a little bit of pine sap, and before we go to the next step, I'll get something that removes that, an adhesive remover, bug splatter remover. I'm still waiting for Phoenix EOD to come out with their own version.
I mean, Peleus panel prep works pretty good on all of those things.
That's
and
coming up next.
You know what else I heard? Because I have my goons testing the glass cleaner. They said it works great as a bug cleaner as well.
Well, maybe in an upcoming videos we could see that. So bug guts and pine sap, easily broken down, and that will lead us to your panel prep.
Oh, one of my absolute favorite products, by the way. I do love my Peleus.
So one of the next things I like to do is to use a quality panel prep before any polishing. We're not going to do polishing today. That is optional if you want to apply Glossome Wax, but we will have a dedicated video on Papa Cut and the Fab Finish. So we're going to skip that today.
Okay.
But before polishing, I like to use this to see if I can break down and remove anything. Maybe the owner went through Mr. Hot Wax tunnel wash 16 times a day because they had to pass and they thought they needed to take advantage of their $24 a month pass. Some do. And that crap, by the way, gets pulled up into your pads, especially if you're using, your favorite foam polish pads, and then they become ineffective because they're clogged and you have to clean them often. You can help a little bit using a quality panel prep, and you just douse the panel. When you're using a panel prep, douse it. Douse it really good. Not just a mist isn't going to do crap. get it on there, and then let it sit a little bit, not too long because it actually starts to evaporate because it's part alcohol.
And didn't you say, like earlier, didn't you say that it can make the clear coat swell?
Well, no, that's a solve. We can get into that when we do a more dedicated. I want to do a dedicated video on this as well.
Okay.
And show the audience everything it can remove. Like I'll have a panel and I'll put a wax, I'll put a sealant, I'll put all types of different protection on a panel and divide it, and we'll see what this can remove. And we'll show you.
I had a bucket with a whole bunch of Titan in it, and then when I was done using that bucket and transferred everything over, it had basically a Titan residue all around the bucket on the plastic, and I cleaned it with that. I just sprayed it on there, let it sit for a couple of minutes.
I like to work it in with this towel here as well.
Yeah.
And then just keep working it until it completely evaporates. And what does that leave behind? That leaves behind a literal squeaky clean surface. Yes. Now, because I'm polishing it, what I did there, can abrade the paint, but that's going to be minor, and we'll get rid of that. But we do now have a very clean, prepped surface, and if you want to skip the polishing process, it's now time to get to Glossome Wax. Okay, we have the Glossome Wax. From there, grab your favorite application pad. It doesn't matter. There are so many out there. We have the circular ones. We have the big, thick, square ones. We have the ones with the plastic insert, so whatever product you're using doesn't get soaked or wicked into the foam interface. Whatever you want to use is perfectly fine. Shake up the formula. It's a viscous formula. There's a lot of stuff in here. So take a little bit of time. Shake it up. Get it warm. If you've had it on a cold shelf, maybe bring it inside and get it up to room temperature, and then shake it up from there. Make sure it's nice and warm. And again, it's going to have this protective insert. Keep everything from leaking out during the shipping process.
Yeah, I think it's a good rule of thumb to always shake up any product that you're about to use. Just if it's sitting on your shelf for any kind of period of time, whatever, it takes longer to shipping to some states and some countries, just make it a rule of thumb to shake your product.
Application. What do you recommend? Do you want a nice thin layer or lay it on thick? What is best for Glossome Wax here?
Well, I mean, again, that's user preference. I personally, I have a Shine Mate that I like to use it on. So you can use it by hand and you can use it by machine. I prefer a machine with a super soft pad and a real light, thin layer on there. Because I'm always going to boost it afterwards with like the Titan will go over the top of it and stuff like that. So you don't have to get crazy with the Cheese Whiz if you don't want to. But it's not going to hurt if you do.
Yeah, it does cut down on effort for sure, and is quicker by just applying a black application pad to any polisher, any polisher at all, really. I don't mind the effort. I like to do it by hand. I just prefer it that way.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll just squeeze it onto a microfiber, and I like to spread it out in a kind of thin film or a layer. How long do we let it sit on the surface then once we're...
Well, I mean, again, it's user preference. When I'm doing this, I'm going around the whole car before I come and take it off.
Okay, so a maximum of about 15, and that all depends also where you're doing it.
Yeah, that's also, yeah. I'm in a controlled environment, like here in Brian's shop. It's not oppressively hot. It's not oppressively humid. So there's plenty of work time. But if you are in one of those environments where it is hot and it is humid and whatnot, it's going to flash a whole lot faster. And the longer it sits, the harder it is going to be to take off because that's its job. So, keep that in mind when you're applying the stuff. But I
personally like to do one panel at a time from top to bottom. Get it on the roof, wipe it off. Get it on the hood, the whole thing, wipe it off. and move on that way.
Yeah. So this is the first person point of view of exactly how Brian applies Glossome Wax.
This is what it looks like. Not laborious whatsoever. It's an easy, quick process to get around the whole vehicle. And if you're tired by the time you're done getting it on, I mean, you must be doing something wrong. This is effortless. And this is what it looks like with a thin layer of the Glossome Wax and its rich formula on the surface. Now we just give it time to cure. Now, normally I would get it on the whole panel here and then wipe it off. I'm only going to do half the hood, so we have a 50-50 to look at. I didn't run a tape line or anything, but I just kind of did a straight line here. And we'll get a 50-50 of what it looks like, how it boosts gloss, what the slickness would be like, and we'll look at water behavior as well. So minimum, if I'm in a rush, I can get that. I can get the whole hood covered in a minute and a half. So a minimum a minute or a minute and a half to about 15 minutes of letting it sit on the surface before you wipe it off. And to wipe it off, I like to use these short nap edgeless towels. I don't like the real plush towels to pick that up. It picks it up a lot quicker and a lot easier with these short nap. And wiping it off is no chore. It's not hard to do.
It doesn't look grabby at all.
No, it's not grabby at all. And like the second time I go over it, especially if I flip the towel over, I could feel that slickness. Like it's not slick like things would just slide off of it, but it has a buttery, silky, smooth feel to it. First person view of wiping it off. Doesn't smear, no high spots, no tricks whatsoever needed. That simple, you are done.
You had done a video a little while back, Brian, where you did it was an old truck. It was probably from the 50s, I'd say. Do you remember? It was a blue truck. It was at your old shop, and you'd use it's a single stage paint, and you used Glossom on that for that very reason.
I recommend a good quality wax or a polymer sealant on single stage on classic and antique cars. I would highly recommend that over a ceramic or a graphene or whatever protection, even PPF, anytime for a classic or a curvy antique.
Why is that?
Number one, single stage is very absorbent. And if you don't know what you're doing with coatings, it can look uneven and blotchy if you don't get it on there right, and it just drinks it in. A couple layers of the Glossome Wax, it would be a beautiful, nice, even dripping wet look that matches that time error.
Excellent.
So there are a couple measurables that we could take a look at. One would be depth. You could use a paint depth gauge to see if you're adding depth. I could tell you we're going to skip that because there is no measurable amount of protection when it comes to this that you're adding. There's even barely enough to measure when you're doing a ceramic coating. Paint protection film, you're going to get 8 to 11 mils worth of thickness. A wax, a polymer sealant, it will barely be measurable even to some of the your most expensive, elaborate tools out there. So we'll skip that. We will go to, you can measure gloss. And keep in mind with gloss readings, gloss units, it takes a jump of every 5 to be able to be picked up by the naked eye. So let's take a look unprotected over here. 89. Let's move over here. 96.
96.
So that would be, to the eye, that would be 2 units that you could actually visually see. But that's an actual almost 10.
And that's without any kind of paint correction.
Gloss jump.
That is
Without
totally
polish.
Glossom. That is totally Glossom.
It's totally Glossom. Yeah. So there's one measurable that you can put numbers behind what we are actually experiencing and seeing. Next, let's take a look at slickness.
Okay.
Normally, when it comes to slickness, you're going to get the most slickness out of some of these spray sealants that are ceramic and graphene and titanium and you name it. You can get you can feel the slickness and a buttery, smooth, silky smooth feel to the waxes and polymer sealants as well. So let's see if we can find out if there's a difference. I have two blocks that are exactly the same. Foam on one side, well, foam on both sides. It's just a different type of foam. One for cushion on this side and one for the palm of your hand on the other. Let's put the green side down and see. Okay, so we got this. Just kind of grabs onto the naked paint, as it should. It's, you know, it's nice and clean. Over here, same angle, about 5 inches up. Let's just keep going up higher and higher and see how high. All right, so you need to come up to about here. And even then, it's working its way down. So,
Sure is. Wow.
So yeah, not crazy, you know, water slide slickness, but there is a difference and you'll feel it. And slickness does pay forward to keeping marring down, because if the surface cuts down on friction, whatever comes in contact with your paint, say you're going down a driveway and there's overgrown brush and leaves and branches touching your car. If you have a nice slick car, think about this, those will glide along the paint and hopefully stay aboard or above your protectant. If you have just bare naked paint, that's going to be making direct contact with the paint, and all of that friction is going to be made with the painted surface. Another visual we could use as a measurable would be water behavior. Does this bead? Does it sheet? The difference between the two can mean water spots if you have a problem with hard water. So let's take a look at the area that hasn't been protected first. No protection whatsoever. You have sheeting. Nice thick sheeting. Over here. A combination of both, which is great. So for the areas that get misted, you have beading, and for the areas where you flood the panel, quick sheeting. I love that. That is my type of protection right there. It pulls together in a lake or a little tiny miniature stream and runs off your panel, leaving just 1 or 2 water droplets to tend to, forced air, drying towel. There you go. Protected on the right, unprotected on the left. When it comes to drying the vehicle, forced air, drying towel, this is how easy it will be. And you will be around the car very, very quickly. With that said, guys, that's our experience here. Experience is going to be just a little bit different for everybody's case, depending on where they do this, your environment, your weather, your temperature. So we have a challenge for you. Our challenge is to apply it to your ride, your whip, your wheels. And let us know down in the comment section your experience with it. Do you have the same love for it that we do? That's our challenge to you.
And what do you prefer? Like, again, I prefer the waxes over the ceramics. I just do for those reasons. One, it is way more forgiving. You don't have to worry about getting distracted and walking away from a ceramic coat, and now you have these high spots that you got to get out of polish or a compound to grind away. I think you have a more intimate relationship with your vehicle using a wax versus ceramic. There's just something about using a wax that you have a connection with your ride, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I think it's time to get back over to the table and give our final thoughts on the video. All right, for the final thought segment of the video, yes, your waxes, your sealants, they are going to be obviously a little bit more work. That's why some prefer the quick spray SiO2 sealants. But we touched upon this earlier. If you have an intimate relationship with your vehicle and you like working on it, the wash process just isn't enough for you. This is perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, it is still effortless. If you get around the car and you're tired, you're doing it wrong. You can get around the car quickly. You can get the results that we showed you.
You said it was a 10-point swing on the Glossom?
It was very close to a 10-point swing, and that's very.
That's wild.
It's very easy to pick up visually with the human eye. So. Yeah. When we're talking about price, what are we looking at for something like this?
I think it runs about $30 a bottle.
So that's 16 ounces. A little bit goes a long way. We use this, small SUV. After a small SUV, we barely touched it. Yeah. So it's going to last you a long time. That price tag will get you a long way and protect many vehicles.
And again, depending on how you maintain your vehicle, you're going to get some mileage out of it. I think Socrates says it best. He all protection should be like a transmission. 3 years or 35,000 miles, whichever comes first. So depending on how you use your vehicle, if it's a daily driver, so on and so. Like for me, like a show car, I want Glossome Wax topped with Titan on top of it, and a 1-2 punch. You're getting depth of gloss. You're getting that warm glow, that wet, buttery, drippy look that I personally love.
And before the audience starts asking about the canned meats we have in front of us, yes, we're going to be torching ourselves again.
When you jump on over after the show, go over to NDD the B Reels on Phoenix's channel. We have a very special episode coming up where one of our viewers wants us to rank apocalyptic meats, meaning if the apocalypse comes and we have to eat one of these items
just to stay
alive, which one would we have to pick? And then we're going to be talking about the best Western frontier movies.
I can't wait. So the Glossome Wax, you're looking at, in our area, you're looking at about 6 months worth of protection. Mm-hmm. That's going to differ. That could differ greatly depending on the environment.
Yep.
But we were excited to bring that to you today. Do you have anything else you want to add? Do we need to pay any more bills?
We do have to pay bills. Again, you guys, thank you so much for watching the show. If you enjoyed the content and you're in need for some Glossome Wax, click on the link below. Use promo code NODIRECTION10 to support the show and save you guys some cheddar. And then I guess we'll see you next month.
We have a lot of high quality content for you. We could just plug and play anything in, but we are going to bring you the polishes. We're going to bring you Papa Cut and Fab Finish because they're on a different version from what I showed you last time. We're going to give you the updated information, and I can't wait.
Yeah, and again, if there's anything that you guys want to see in particular, make sure you comment below. Your comments also support the show, as well do subscriptions and thumbs ups.
Absolutely. Again, thanks for stopping by. We love to spend a couple minutes out of the day with you, and we'll see you in the next video.